Hi, this is Kevin Thomas. Welcome to the At Home Film Festival. This week we're going to take a look at great 80s ladies. I chose the term ladies because it does kind of rhyme, but it also shows how archaic that word is, as well as how actresses were mostly treated in the 70s and 80s. Actually, it goes back to the beginning of time, because if you think about it, Vivien Leigh, the star of Gone with the Wind, on screen 80% of the time, made a fraction of the money that Clark Gable made, who was on it much less. So women, no matter what their career path is, they make less money than men. And when it comes to acting, they're kind of thrown aside when they get to be 45 or 50. And I found that the 70s or 80s was sort of the last decades where women didn't take the power back, that they are now in control of their own careers, and 60 is the new 40. Because if you think about it, Bette Davis, when she did Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, she was an old hag, but she was probably like 50 years old. A lot of this was brought to light to me when Rosanna Arquette made this movie, Searching for Debra Winger. It kind of explores what happens to actresses, why they have to fight to get the roles, and a lot of them used to follow the studio system where they were just hired for the part that was available. But nowadays, they fight for the role and they produce it, they're involved in it because they should not be thrown aside. It's terrible the way Clint Eastwood, who's 80, would have a 30-year-old girlfriend co-star. Same thing would happen with like Sean Connery back in the day. Catherine Zeta-Jones is once his love interest, and he is old enough probably to be almost her grandfather. But anyway, women are fighting back. But let's take a look at some ladies, women, whose careers might have been a little forgotten because they were actresses from the 70s and 80s, and they kind of fell off the radar when time went on. Let's applaud these actresses and watch their films this week. You could watch a little bit of each of these 4 actresses I'm going to talk about, or I picked 7 essential movies for each one of them. And of these essential movies, it's their starring roles I mostly focused on. Not some great little bit part that may have even gotten them an Oscar nomination. It's essential movies of theirs where they are the star. So let's take a look. We might as well start with Debra Winger. So Debra Winger first made a big splash in the movie Urban Cowboy. She got a Golden Globe nomination. Everyone thought she'd be up for an Oscar, but she wasn't. But right after that, she did An Officer and a Gentleman, her first Oscar nomination. She had a great career in the 80s, but her career kind of faltered later. Some say it's because she became a wife and mother and focused on that career. Others think that she was very difficult to work with because a lot of her co-stars did not enjoy working with Debra Winger. But if you're going to make a Debra Winger essential list of films, you would definitely need An Officer and a Gentleman, her first Oscar nomination, then Terms of Endearment, her second Oscar nomination, losing to her co-star Shirley MacLaine. The list could also include, you ready for another fun one from the Debra Winger list? Black Widow. In fact, when this movie was being made, she had a choice of which part she wanted. That's how big Debra Winger was in the 80s. So this would definitely need to be an essential Debra Winger list. Then she did 2 great movies in a row, leading to yet another Oscar nomination. One of them is Shadowlands, where she was Oscar nominated. And another one on the essential list would be A Dangerous Woman, same year as Shadowlands. So she was just well acclaimed for that too, but then she kind of fell off the radar for a little bit, maybe because she's raising children, or maybe she's just sick of the Hollywood system. But she did come back with a movie, Dawn Anna, made for TV, which got her great, great acclaim. So those are 6 of the 7 movies for the Debra Winger essential movies. So the last one is The Lovers. It's not my favorite of all her movies, but it is a big comeback later in life, a couple of years ago. Anyway, who else do we have on our list of essential actresses from the 80s? Let's take a look. Sally Field is a definite essential actress from the 80s. She actually started as a lighthearted TV actress and people didn't take her seriously. So her first essential one would be her made-for-TV movie Sybil, where she won an Emmy Award. People took her serious after that. In fact, then she did another essential film of hers, Norma Ray, her first Oscar. So Sally Field is really now making great movies, and they're all dramatic. So I also wanted to point out, I'm showing here Punchline. Now this is very interesting because it was an 80s movie. Sally went back to doing comedy, very funny. but her love interest was Tom Hanks, who had no Oscars at this time, so Sally Field was the big star. Well, 6 years later, guess what? She played his mother. That's right, in Forrest Gump, Sally Field was Tom Hanks's mother. So here they are, love interest. Then she played his mother. Sure, a lot of makeup can make anybody look older or younger or prettier or whatever, but it's probably, and it was a good part, but by that time, Sally Field was 40-ish, 50, and they started thinking, oh, you know, we need to find someone hot like Robin Wright for Tom Hanks's love interest in Forrest Gump. And she also exceeded at doing comedies. I love Kiss Me Goodbye, which is during her heyday of being the leading star and very funny. So Sally's essential movies we've talked about would be Sybil, and when she won an Emmy Award, then Norma Ray, where she won an Oscar, then she returned to comedy with Kiss Me Goodbye. So she was, you know, the other one she had to make drama to show she has acting chops. But then she once again, another essential movie of hers, Places in the Heart, Oscar #2. Then she did Steel Magnolias, which I reviewed a couple weeks ago. That is a really terrific ensemble piece. And she went back to comedy with Soap Dish, which makes fun of soap operas. It's a really funny movie. Sally is so amazing in this movie. And last one on her essential list, are you ready for it? Here we go. Hello, my name is Doris. This was just a couple years ago. Sally was amazing in this. It brought her back to the limelight of being a movie star. So those are like 7 essential Sally Field movies. You might say, hey, where's Mrs. Doubtfire? But it's Mrs. Doubtfire. That's a Robin Williams movie. Or hey, Forrest Gump won an Oscar, but not for Sally. So these are where she's the lead star. Sally's currently in a TV series. She's also done other series. She came back to television, getting a lot of good roles like Brothers and Sisters, but her movie roles are few and far between, but she is making it happen. So I applaud you, Sally. Then we have Marsha Mason, 4-time Oscar nominee, Marsha Mason. Mid-70s to early 80s, she was on fire. 3 of her Oscar nominations were from movies written by her then husband, Neil Simon. But then Marsha completely fell off the radar. I was shocked one day when I was watching my soap opera, One Life to Live, and she guest starred for one day. Maybe she was doing a favor, but Marsha loves theater, so she's doing a lot of her more current work in the theater. But then she's in smaller parts in other movies, or TV shows. I mean, you've seen her in Frasier, where she won an Emmy Award or nomination. She's been in The Middle. But Marsha, 4 Oscar nominations, she needs more love from the moviegoer. She needs to take hold of a role. She's come into a lot of other films that have been enjoyable, sort of a 1-day part or a 2-day part, and really made them her own, like 2 Days in the Valley or Bride and Prejudice. But Marsha is a leading actress. So if you're having a Marsha Mason essential movie list, I would do Cinderella Liberty, her first Oscar nomination, 1973. Then I would do The Goodbye Girl, which we just saw here, another Oscar nomination written by her then husband, Neil Simon. Then she had a double whammy year where she did 2 great movies in a row. Maybe both could have been Oscar nominations. Promises in the Dark, very good dramatic role there for her. Then she did Chapter 2, another Neil Simon, and another Oscar nomination. Then she did what I consider my favorite performance of hers, Only When I Laugh, her 4th Oscar nomination, also from a Neil Simon play turned into a movie. She is so funny in this, and yet she's also super dramatic. She plays an alcoholic that gets released from the, not the Betty Ford Center, but an equivalent to that in New York, only to find that her child resents her. Everybody but Christy McNichol got an Oscar nomination because the acting is amazing in this movie. So that would be on my essential list for Marsha Mason. Now, she's kind of run low on leading roles. So her other one would be Surviving, a made-for-TV movie about teen suicide, also great with Ellen Burstyn. And my final one is not a leading role, but it kind of was a more recent role, is Life in the Shadows, the Judy Garland story where she played Judy's mother. I'm trying to stick to leading roles, but Marsha's now become more of a theater star and she doesn't have later in life leading roles. And I wanted to do kind of a beginning to current roles instead of just completely sticking to the 70s and 80s. But my favorite is still, performance-wise, is Only When I Laugh. Laugh-wise, it's The Goodbye Girl. Now we have the actress that ruled the 80s. Ruled! Kathleen Turner. She made her film debut in Body Heat 1981. This movie is sizzling hot. It's very film noir. I can't believe it got 0 Oscar nominations. Kathleen sizzled in this movie. She got great notices. She was nominated for Best New Star from the Golden Globes, but she lost to Pia Zadora. Oops. But then Kathleen Turner kept going. Her next movie was The Man with Two Brains, kind of making fun of movies like this where she's the femme fatale. So right away, she makes fun of herself. But she also was great in a lot of other movies. Let's take a look. Oh my God. Prizzi's Honor. Jack Nicholson was her co-star. It's a movie about hired assassins that get in love, fall in love. Oh. Now, the only thing sad about this movie is everybody but Kathleen Turner received an Oscar nomination. In fact, Angelica Houston won for Best Supporting Actress. Kathleen, I'm so sorry, but has been nominated 1 time for an Oscar for Peggy Sue Got Married. So that, of course, would need to be an essential Kathleen Turner movie. But still, what great performances she did year in, year out. Let's take a look what else she has. So while it was great, Peggy Sue Got Married is her 1 Oscar nomination, but that does not limit Kathleen Turner's great work in the 80s. In fact, I think almost all of her movies on her essential list are from the 80s. They spilled over into the 90s a little. But let's take a look what we have here. We have Body Heat, then the double whammy year of Romancing the Stone and Crimes of Passion, which I've talked about Crimes of Passion before on this show. That year she won a lot of critics' prizes, some for Romancing the Stone, some for Crimes of Passion. Maybe that's why she didn't get an Oscar nomination, because she split her votes. But then also on her list would be Prizzi's Honor, this one here, Peggy Sue Got Married. War of the Roses is so good. Oh my God, she and Michael Douglas, their chemistry spilled over from Romancing the Stone. They're a great duo, so that would be on her essential list. And Serial Mom. But that's 7 great movies for Kathleen Turner. Now, what has she done lately? So Kathleen really has spent the last several years on stage and theater, which is a great passion of hers. So we kind of miss her seeing her regularly on movies or in TV, but she's still a great actress. I've seen her live. She's very wonderful. She's really one of the best actresses we have. And I think she's taken control of her career by going to the stage, because stage doesn't seem to be as sexist as movies and TV for female actors. So I applaud you, Kathleen Turner. In fact, I applaud all the women on this list. If you could think of any other 80s ones that I missed that you would like to explore more, you know I'm starting to love those comments below. I also like people to subscribe and share. In the meantime, I will see you next week with a whole new theme. But let's watch those great actresses, shall we? Bye-bye.